I will just remind you that 8 more productions will be premiered here this year. This is the first. The second one is coming on 26th and 27th. It will be going to Poland. This semester we decided to organize a massive presentation of French dramaturgy. So we'll have 6 French projects and 3 are not French. Thank you for being here, because as you know, we need minimum 100 people in the auditorium, otherwise we'll be beheaded or something.
Hello everyone, good evening, thank you all for coming. The play we'll see now is called The Lesson. It's by Eugene Ionesco. Some of you might recall that last fall we had a chance to see another one of his plays, The Bold Soprano. It was almost the same cast and the same director, I have to say, and since we liked it very much, we decided just to do one of his plays again. The play was originally written in French. You will see an English version of it, of course. And, well, Eugene Ionesco was called the father of the absurd, so the same as his other works, this play is absurd as well, therefore this very tidy stage, I have to say. I'm just gonna say relax, enjoy. It's gonna be, I promise you, it's gonna be a good one. Thank you all for coming.
Good morning, miss.
Good morning, madam. Is the professor at home?
Have you come for the lesson?
Yes, I have.
The professor is expecting. Please come in and sit down for a moment. I'll go tell him you arrived.
Thank you.
Professor! Professor! Student was here!
Thank you. I'm coming. Just a moment. Good morning, young lady. I expected you, that you're the new student?
Yes, Professor. Good morning, Professor. As you see, I'm on time. I didn't want to be late.
Yes, that's fine, miss. Thank you. You didn't really need to hurry. I'm very sorry to have kept you waiting. I was just finishing up something. You will forgive me, won't you?
Oh, but certainly, Professor. It doesn't matter at all, Professor.
Please excuse me. Did you have any trouble finding the place?
Oh, no, not at all. I just asked the way. Everybody knows you around here.
Yes, for 30 years I've lived in this town. You haven't been here for long. How do you find it?
It's quite all right. The town is attractive and even agreeable. There's a nice park, some shops and streets.
That's very true, young lady. And yet, I'd just as soon live somewhere else. In Paris or Bordeaux.
Do you like Bordeaux?
I'm afraid I don't know. I've never been there.
But you certainly know Paris.
I haven't been there either, miss, but you will permit me to ask you.
Certainly, Professor.
Paris is the capital of...
Paris is the capital of... France.
It's very good. This is excellent. You know your French geography very well. You have your chief cities at your fingertips.
Oh, I don't know them all yet, Professor. I have trouble learning them.
Oh. Well, it will come, dear young lady. Little by little. I beg your pardon. It will come in time. What nice weather we're having outside. Or rather, not so nice. But then again, yes, it is nice. Overall, it's not too bad a day, and that's the main thing. It's not raining, it's not snowing.
That would be most unusual for it's summer now.
Yes, miss, I was just about to say so myself. But as you will learn, one must be prepared for everything, young lady.
I guess so, Professor.
We cannot be sure of anything, nothing in this world.
The snow falls in the winter. Winter is one of the 4 seasons. The other 3 are
Yes?
spring and summer and
It begins like automobile.
oh yes, autumn, yes.
Miss, this is excellent. I am convinced that you will make a good student. You're very intelligent, you seem to be very well informed, and you've got a good memory.
I know my seasons, don't I, Professor?
Yes, indeed. Or almost. But in time, you will know all the seasons, even with your eyes closed. Just as I do.
It's hard.
Oh, no, miss. All it takes is a little effort, a little goodwill. You will see. It will come in time. You may be sure of that.
Oh, I do hope so, Professor. I have a great thirst for knowledge. My parents also want me to get an education. They want me to specialize. They consider a little general culture, even if it's solid, is no longer enough in these times.
Your parents, miss, are absolutely right. It is very necessary that you continue your education. Forgive me for saying so, but you have to do it. Our contemporary life has become most complex.
And so very complicated, too. My parents are fairly rich. I'm lucky. They can help me in my work, help me in my most advanced studies.
And you wish to qualify for...
Just as soon as possible, for the first doctor's orals. They're in 3 weeks' time.
And you already have your high school diploma, if you pardon my question.
Yes, Professor, I have my arts diploma and my science diploma, too.
Oh, but you're very far advanced. Even perhaps too advanced for your age. But which doctor do you wish to qualify for? The one in the physical sciences or the one in moral philosophy?
My parents are very much hoping. Of course, if you think it will be possible for a short period of time, they're very much hoping if I can get qualified for the total doctorate.
The total doctorate? You have great courage, miss. I congratulate you sincerely. We will try, miss, to do our best. In any case, you already know quite a bit, and at so young an age.
Oh, Professor.
But now, miss, I'm very sorry, but I do think we ought to begin. We have scarcely any time to lose.
Oh, but certainly, Professor.
Now, I ask you please come and sit down here.
Certainly.
Yes.
Thank you, Professor.
And you will permit me to sit opposite you.
Of course, Professor, please do.
Thank you, miss. There we are. Now, you brought your books and notebooks with you, I presume.
Certainly, Professor. I have brought all that we need.
This is perfect. Now, miss, if this doesn't bore
Oh,
you,
no, not at all.
shall we begin?
Indeed, Professor. I'm at your disposal.
At my disposal. But, miss, it is I who am at your disposal. I am only your humble servant.
Oh, Professor.
Now, I will begin by making a brief examination of your knowledge, past and present, so that we may better chart our future course. Yes, that's right. How is your perception of morality?
It's rather vague. Confused.
Good, we shall see. Now, miss, would you like to do a little arithmetic? That is, if you want.
Oh, certainly, Professor. I beg you, I want to.
It is rather a new science, modern science, properly speaking. It's more of method than science, really. Have you finished, Marie?
Yes, Professor, I've found the glass. I'm leaving.
Hurry up then. Please go along to the kitchen.
As you say, Professor. Thank you for saying that, Professor. But please take care. I urge you to remain calm.
You're being ridiculous, Marie. Now off you go.
Oh, that's what you always say.
I will not stand for insinuations. I know perfectly well how to comport myself. I am old enough for that.
Precisely, Professor. And therefore, you better not start the young lady on arithmetic. It's tiring and exhausting.
Not at my age. And anyhow, what business is this of yours? This is my concern, and I know perfectly well what I'm doing. This is not your department.
Whatever you say, Professor. Can't say it didn't warn you.
Marie, I can do quite well without your advice.
As you say, Professor.
Madam, please forgive this absurd interruption. Excuse this woman.
That's quite all right. It shows that she's very devoted. Good servants are rare.
She exaggerates. Her fears are stupid. But let's return to our arithmetical knitting.
Yes, Professor.
Now, it wouldn't be too tiresome for you to tell me.
Oh no, Professor, not at all.
How much is 1 and 1?
1 and 1 make 2.
It's very good. This is excellent. You should easily be able to achieve the total doctrine.
Oh, I'm so glad, especially to have someone like you to tell me that.
But let's push on, shall we? How much is 2 and 1?
3.
3 and 1?
4.
4 and 1?
5.
5 and 1?
6.
6 and 1?
7.
7 and 1?
8.
7 and 1?
8 again.
Very well answered. 7 and 1?
8 once more.
Perfect. Excellent. 7 and 1?
8 again. And sometimes 9.
You're magnificent. You're magnificent. You're exquisite. There's scarcely any point in going on. But let's try with subtraction now, shall we? It wouldn't be too tiresome for you to tell
Oh,
me.
no, not at all.
How much is 4 minus 3?
4 minus 3? 4 minus 3?
Yes, I mean to say subtract 3 from 4.
That makes 7.
I'm very sorry, but I'm obliged to contradict you. You're confused. 4 plus 3 makes 7, but 4 minus 3 does not make 7. This is not addition anymore. We must subtract. So, 4 minus 3 is how many? How many?
3.
That's not it.
Well, 4 then.
Not that either. Forgive me, I meant to say that's not it.
4 minus 3. 4 minus 3. 4 minus 3. But doesn't it make it 10?
Certainly not, miss. This is not a matter of guessing. You have to think it through. Let's try and deduce it together. Would you like to count?
Yes, Professor. 1, 2.
But you know how to count. How far can you count up to?
I can count to infinity.
But that's not possible.
Well then, let's say to 16.
That will do. One must be aware of one's limits. Now count them, if you will, please.
Yes, Professor. 1, 2, and after 2 comes 3, and 4.
Stop right there. Now, can you tell me which number is larger, 3 or 4?
Which is larger? The larger of 3 and 4? In what sense larger?
Well, you see, some numbers are smaller and some numbers are larger than others. In the larger numbers, there are more units.
Than in the small numbers.
Yes. You must understand this, that there is more than numbers at hand here. There are such things as totals, there are groups, there are magnitudes, there are heaps. Heaps of such things as prunes, as trucks, geese, pits, etc. To facilitate our work, let's merely suppose that we have equal numbers. And then the larger numbers will be the ones with the most units.
Ah, so the one that has the most is the biggest. I understand now, Professor. You're identifying quality with quantity.
That is too theoretical. It's too theoretical. Let's leave the general conclusions for later. For now, it is enough to know that we have the numbers 3 and 4, and each always with the same amount of units. So, which number is larger, the smaller or the larger?
Excuse me, Professor, but what do you mean by the larger number? Is it the one that's not so small as the others?
That's it, miss. You've understood me very well.
Then it is 4.
4 is what, miss? Smaller or larger than 3?
Smaller. No. Larger.
Excellent. But now, how many units are there between 3 and 4? Or between 4 and 3, if you prefer.
There aren't any units, Professor, between 3 and 4. 4 comes immediately after 3. There is nothing at all between 3 and 4.
I see you've not understood my example. No doubt it is my fault. I have not been sufficiently clear.
Oh no, Professor, it's my fault.
Okay, let's try a different approach.
Yes, Professor.
In my right hand, I have 3 matches, and in my left hand, I have 1 match. Now, you see, this totally makes 4 matches. Now, I take 1 away, and there remain how many matches?
5. If 3 and 1 make 4, then 4 and 1 makes 5.
That's not it. You always have a tendency to add, but one must be able to subtract too. It is not enough to integrate. You must also be able to disintegrate. That is the way life is. That is science. That is philosophy. That is progress. Civilization.
Yes, Professor.
Now, let's return to our matches.
Yes, Professor.
So, in my right hand I have 3, in my left 1. You see, this totally makes 4. We really do have 4. Now, I take 1 away, and there remain how many matches?
I don't know.
Come now, think. It's not easy, I admit, but you've had sufficient training to make the intellectual effort required to arrive at an understanding. So?
I don't know. I can't get it, Professor.
All right, well, let's try a simple example.
Yes, Professor.
Suppose now you have 2 noses.
Yes,
And then I pull one of them off, and then how many noses do you have left then?
none.
What do you mean?
Yes, it's because you haven't pulled off any. That is why I have 1 now. If you had pulled it off, I wouldn't have it anymore.
I see you've not understood my example. All right, let's try another.
Yes, Professor.
Suppose now you have 1 ear,
Yes.
and now if I gave you another ear, how many ears would you have then?
2.
Excellent. Now, I gave you still another ear, and how many ears would you have then?
3 years.
Perfect. Now, I take 1 away, and then how many ears do you have left?
2.
Excellent. Now, I take away still another 1. You have 2. I take 1 away. So how many do you have left?
2.
That's not it. You have 2. I take 1 away. I eat 1 up. And you have how many left?
2.
I eat 1 of them. 1.
2.
1.
2.
1.
2.
1.
2.
No. The example, it's not convincing. Listen to me.
Yes, Professor.
You've got
10 fingers.
Yes, perfect, good. You have then 10 fingers. Now, how many fingers would you have if you only had 5?
10.
That's not it.
But it is.
I tell you it's not.
But you just told me I had 10.
I also said immediately afterwards that you only had 5.
But I don't have 5, I've got 10.
That's fine. Let's leave this example for later. Let's go on to a different exercise.
Yes, Professor.
Now, it will be enough for the purposes of subtraction to know that we have the numbers from 1 to 5. Wait now, miss. You will soon see. I'm going to make you understand.
Yes, Professor.
Look here, miss. see, these are sticks, yes, sticks. This is one stick, this is the second stick, the third stick, the fourth stick, and the fifth stick. One stick, two sticks, three sticks, four sticks, five sticks. These are numbers, miss. Now, when we count these sticks, each stick is a unit, miss. What did I just say?
A unit, miss. What did I just say?
Or a figure, or a number. These are the elements of numeration.
Oh, I see. And the units and sticks, which are numbers and figures, yes.
That is to say, in short, the whole of arithmetic is here.
Yes, Professor. Good, Professor. Thanks, Professor.
And now count them, madam, using these sticks. Add and subtract.
Sticks are really figures, and numbers are units.
So to speak. And then?
One could subtract 2 units from 3 units. But can one subtract 2 2s from 3 3s, and 3 numbers from 1 figure, and 2 units from 4 figures?
No, miss.
But why, Professor?
Because, miss.
Because why, Professor? You just said that one is the same as the other.
That's the way it is, miss. It can't be explained. It relies on an internal mathematical reasoning. Either you have it or you don't.
Too bad for me.
Listen, miss. If you do not achieve a profound understanding of these arithmetical principles, these arithmetical archetypes, really, how do you expect to be able to perform successfully the functions of a polytechnician? Now, I understand that this is not easy. In fact, it is very, very abstract, obviously. But if you do not comprehend this fully, how do you expect to be able to calculate mentally, for example, how much is, say, 3,768,174,501 multiplied by 7,777,508?
That would be 19,300,9,000,000,160,4,290,000,164,508.
No, that's not right. That must make 19 quintillion, 340 billion, 3,844 quintillion, 577,509.
No, 508.
Yes, you're right. The result is indeed 164,508. How did you know this? If you have absolutely no understanding of these arithmetical principles.
It's easy. Not being able to rely on my reasoning, I memorized all products of all possible multiplications.
That is pretty good. However, permit me to say that this does not satisfy me, and therefore I do not congratulate you. In mathematics, and in arithmetic especially, the thing that counts, for in arithmetic it is always count, the thing that counts is, above all, understanding. That is why I am not happy with this. This will not do. Not at all.
No, Professor?
That's all right, miss. Let's leave this for later. Let's go on to a different exercise.
Yes, Professor.
Professor.
It is unfortunate, miss, that you're not further along in special mathematics.
Very bad, Professor.
I hear that you will be unable to qualify for the total.
And you're so too very bad.
Professor.
Unless you, of course. No, what's the meaning of this, Marie? Let me be! Go away! Go back to your pots and your pans in your kitchen! Go away! Of course, if you do insist on attempting the partial.
Certainly, Professor, yes.
Leave her alone! What are you doing? Get out of here! Now, if you do really insist on attempting the partial,
Yes, Professor.
then I will have to teach you the elements of linguistics and of comparative philosophy.
No! Professor, no! Don't do this!
You're going too far.
Professor, please, especially not philology. Philology leads to calamity.
To calamity, but that's hard to believe.
That's enough now. Get out of here.
All right, Professor. We're not set to inform you. Philology leads to calamity.
I am an adult, Marie.
Yes, Professor.
as you say.
Let's continue.
Yes, Professor.
I want you to listen now, with the greatest possible attention, to a lecture I have prepared.
Yes, Professor.
After which, in 15 minutes' time, you will achieve a complete and profound understanding of the linguistics and comparative philology of the Neo-Spanish and Spanish languages.
Oh, yes, Professor. Good, great.
Quiet! What's the meaning of this?
I'm sorry, Professor.
Quiet! And now, young lady, Spanish is truly the mother tongue, which gave birth to all the Neo-Spanish languages, of which we have Spanish, Neo-Spanish, Latin, Romanian, Portuguese, Sardinian or Sardinapalian, really, and also, in certain of its aspects, Turkish, which is otherwise very close to Greek, which is only natural seeing that Greece is a neighbor of Turkey, and Greece is even closer to Turkey than you are to me. You may take notes, miss.
Yes, Professor.
That which distinguishes them and their idioms from the languages of other linguistic groups, of which we have the Austrian and the Neo-Austrian languages, which consist of the Basque, the Andorran, the Helvetian, the Monacan, and the languages of the Jaialai groups. That which distinguishes them, I repeat, is their striking resemblance, which coincidentally makes it impossible to distinguish one from another.
Oh, yes, Professor.
But let's not linger over generalities.
Oh, yes, Professor.
I see this appears to interest you. All the better. All the better.
Oh, yes, Professor.
Now, don't worry, miss. We will come back to this later. That is, if we come back to it at all.
Oh, yes, Professor.
Now, every tongue, and you must know this, miss, and remember it until the hour of your death.
Oh, yes, Professor. Until the hour of my death. Yes, Professor.
And this, too, is a fundamental principle. Every tongue is at bottom nothing but language, which necessarily implies that it is composed of sounds or...
Phonemes?
Just what I was going to say. Don't parade your knowledge. You do much better to listen.
Yes, Professor.
Now, the sounds, miss, must be seized on the wing when they fly so that they will not fall on deaf ears. That is why it is recommended, insofar as possible, of course, that when you set out to articulate, elevate yourself up on the tips of your toes and lift your neck and chin up high, like this. Look.
Oh, yes, Professor.
Keep quiet, remain seated, do not interrupt me.
Yes, Professor.
And pronounce all the words with all the force of your lungs in conjunction with that of your vocal cords. Like this, look. Eureka! Trafalgar! Papaya! This way, the sounds become filled with a warm air that is lighter than the surrounding air, and then they may fly without the danger of falling on deaf ears. By themselves, words charged with significance will fall, weighted down by their meaning, and in the end, they always collapse, fall.
On deaf ears.
That's it, but don't interrupt. And into the worst possible confusion, or else burst like balloons. Therefore, miss, what's the matter now?
I've got a toothache.
That is not important. We will not stop for something as trivial as that. Let us go on.
Yes, Professor.
Now, the Neo-Spanish languages are really so closely related to each other that they can be considered as true second cousins. Moreover, they have the same mother. Spanish with its root. That is why it is so very necessary to have a good pronunciation. A bad pronunciation can get you into trouble. In this respect, permit me to share a personal experience with you. It was during my military service. I was very young. had a friend in the army, a Viscount who suffered from a rather serious defect in his pronunciation. He could not pronounce the letter F. Instead of F, he said
F.
And so instead of birds of a feather flock together, he said
Birds of a feather flock together.
He said
Fungus.
instead of fungus,
Vermin.
instead of vermin,
Fee-fi-fo fum.
instead of fee-fi-fo-fum,
Go frig yourself.
instead of go frig yourself,
February.
instead of February,
March, April.
instead of March, April,
Gerard de Nerval,
and not as is correct, Gerard de Nerval,
etc.
instead of etc.,
And thus instead of etc.
instead of etc., and thus, and so forth. However, he concealed his fault so well that, thanks to the hats he wore, no one ever noticed the difference.
I've got a toothache.
Let's go on. We will first consider the points of similarity between these different languages, so that we may better apprehend later on that which distinguishes them one from another. These similarities are so great that people who are not aware of them are not even aware of them. Therefore, miss, all the words of all the languages
I've got a
are
toothache.
always the same, just as all the suffixes, all the prefixes, all the roots, and all the terminations.
Toothache.
Let's go on. To give you an example now, which is little more than an illustration, really, take now the word front.
How do you want me to take it?
However you wish, just so long as you take it, but above all, do not interrupt.
I've got a toothache.
The word front, have you taken it?
Yes, I've got it.
The
Toothache.
word is to be found in frontispiece. It is also to be found in a front. Ispice is the suffix and af the prefix. They are so called because they do not change. They don't want to.
I've got a toothache.
Let's go on. These suffixes have not changed in Spanish. I hope you noticed that, didn't you?
I've got a toothache.
They've also not changed in French. And now, young lady, nothing has succeeded in changing them in Latin either, nor in Portuguese, nor even in the Oriental. Front, frontispiece, affronted, always the same word invariably with the same suffix, the same root, and the same prefix in all the languages I've named. And this is the same for all words.
In all languages, these words mean the same thing. Toothache.
Absolutely. Forget about your teeth.
I've got a toothache.
Let's go on. To give you an example, translate now into French the following phrase. The roses of my grandmother are as yellow as my grandfather who was Asian.
I've got a toothache.
Let's go on. Translate it into Asian anyway.
In French?
In French.
This would be in French, I believe. The roses of my grandmother are as yellow as my grandfather, who was Asian.
No.
He got angry. My toothache.
Let's go on. I'll give you another example. Now, how would you say, for example, in Italian? No, I do not like this example.
I've got a toothache.
Let's go on. Now, miss, the word.
The phrase in Spanish, the roses of my grandmother are as yellow as my grandfather who was Asian. And in Neo-Spanish, it is the roses of my grandmother are as yellow as my grandfather who
No,
was
that's
Asian.
wrong. That's not the example I gave. No, that's you've confused French with Spanish and Neo-Spanish with Spanish. It's the other way around.
I've got a toothache, Professor. You're getting mixed up.
You're the one who's mixing me up. Listen carefully now. I will say the phrases in French, then in Spanish, and then in Neo-Spanish. Pay attention, for the resemblances are great. In fact, they are identical resemblances. Listen, follow carefully. Let's go on. Now, in Spanish, the roses of my grandmother are as yellow as my grandfather who was Asian. In French, the roses of my grandmother are as yellow as my grandfather who was Asian. In Latin, the roses of my grandmother are as yellow as my grandfather who was Asian. You detect the differences.
Excuse me, Professor, but I really don't get the difference.
It's so simple. It's so simple. Are you even listening to me? Oh, I'm going to lose my temper again.
You're bothering me, Professor.
Cocker Spaniel, listen to me.
Yes, yes.
That which distinguishes them and their idioms from the languages of other linguistic groups is an intangible thing. That's it, young lady. I cannot give you any rule. One must have a feeling for it, and well, that's it. But in order to get it, one must study, and then study some more. However, there are certain cases where these languages differ from one another, but we cannot base our experience on these cases, which are, so to speak, exceptional. Don't interrupt me. Don't make me lose my temper. I cannot guarantee what I'll do. As I was saying, these exceptional cases, these so-called easily distinguished, if you prefer, for I see that you're not listening to me.
My toothache!
Ache. So what? I'm going to tear them out one by one. And then they will not hurt you anymore. No. Most, how should I say this? Yes, the Spanish expression, famous in Madrid, my country is the new Spain, becomes, when translated into Italian, my country is...
Spain?
No, my country is Italy. By simple deduction, how is Italian translated into French?
Oh, my toothache!
French, what else? By simple deduction, then the Italian phrase becomes, in French, my country is France. French, in Portuguese, Portugal, my country is Portugal, and so on.
Oh, no more my teeth!
One more example. The word capital, it takes on a different meaning based on the one who speaks it. For example, when a Spaniard man says, I reside in the capital, it does not at all mean the same thing as when a Spanish man says, I reside in the capital.
Oh, I cannot stand anymore my teeth!
Silence or I'll dash your skull in!
Skulldugger!
Not a word! Most, how should I say this now? The most, what is it? Paradox. Yes, that's the word. The most paradoxical thing is that certain people who are completely illiterate speak these different languages. Do you understand? What did I say?
Speak these different languages. Do you understand? What did I just say?
You were lucky that time. The common rebels speak a Spanish that is full of Latin expressions that they're not even aware of. Do you understand?
Yes! What more do you want?
Sorry. But the worst of all, young lady, is that certain people, in a Latin that they suppose is Spanish, say when addressing themselves to Frenchmen, both my kidneys are of the same kidney. And the Frenchman will understand this and reply in French, me too, sir, mine are too. And this will be perfectly comprehensible to the Spaniard, who will believe that the reply is in Spanish, and the Spanish is being spoken, when in reality it was neither French nor Spanish, but Latin in a neo-Spanish dialect. Sit still, young lady, do not fidget and stop tapping your feet. It is simply one of the inexplicable curiosities of the vulgar empiricism of the common people. Not to be confused with experience, mind you, it is a paradox, a nonsense, one of the aberrations of human nature. It is purely and simply instinct. Put it in a nutshell. That is what is at hand here. Instead of staring at the flies while I go through this much effort to make you understand, you would do much better to listen. It is not I who will qualify for the partial doctorate. I have obtained mine a long time ago. And I've gotten my super total diploma too. Can you not see that what I'm doing is for your own good?
Oh, toothache!
Ill mannered little. Can I go on, please? Can I go on, please? As I was saying, to learn these different languages, there is nothing better than experience. Let's take them up in order. I will now endeavor to teach you all the various translations of the word not for. Marie! Marie! Where are you? Marie! Marie, where are you? Marie! When I call you, you must come. I tell you, when I call you, you must girl, she doesn't understand.
Don't do this, Professor. Please don't. You know where it's going to end. You're gonna go too far. You've already gone too far.
I'll be able to stop in time.
That's what you always say. I wish I was able to see it. Don't you see? Don't you see? It has started. It's the symptom.
What symptom? What do you mean? Explain yourself.
Yes, explain yourself.
It's the chief symptom, Professor. The final one.
Stupid. You're all stupid. Where do you think you're going? I told you here to bring me the French, Romanian, Italian, Nepali, Sardinian, French, Romanian eyes.
Don't ask me anything. No more.
There is one. It will be enough if you learn to pronounce all the languages while looking at this topic very closely. Fix it! And imagining that it is in the language you are speaking.
What is that, Valentina? French, Italian, or Spanish?
That doesn't matter now. That's not your concern. Now, say, knife.
Knife!
And look at it. Watch it.
No, my God, I get it enough! French, I cannot listen to you anymore, I cannot stand you! My eyes hurt, my ears hurt, I can't go!
After I tear out your eyes, nothing will hurt anymore.
No!
Say,
You're hurting me!
Knife! Pronounce it.
Knife! My chest, knife! My stomach!
Knife!
My arms!
Knife!
Knife! My knees!
Now you're
Knife! My chest!
Step away from my window. Knife kills.
No, knife kills.
That's it, young lady. The lesson is over. You may go now. That's all right. You may pay another time. You may go. Young lady, Marie, come in here, Marie. No, don't come in here, Marie, please don't come in. I don't need you, Marie, please. Marie, I don't need you.
So what now? Are you satisfied with the student? Did she profit from the lesson?
Well, yes, the lesson is over, but she's still there. She
Really?
doesn't want to leave.
Really?
It wasn't I, it was Marie. It wasn't I.
Was it you? Huh? Who was it then? Me?
I don't know, maybe.
Or the cat?
It's possible, I don't know.
Do you realize she is the 40th one, just for today? And every goddamn day is the same thing. Shame on you! At your age. You know what? You're gonna make yourself sick, and soon you won't have any students left. And that's gonna serve you right.
But it wasn't my fault. She was a bad pupil. She didn't want to learn. She didn't understand anything. She didn't want to learn.
You're such a liar.
It's none of your business.
Yeah!
Huh? Look at him. You wanted to do this to me, huh? I'm not one of your students. Not me. No, put that fucking knife where it belongs. Go! Didn't I tell you, just a little while ago, arithmetic leads to philology, and philology leads to crime.
You
It's the same thing.
I didn't understand you. I thought that Calamity was a city and that philology leads to the city of Calamity.
Bullshit, you old fox. An intellectual like you won't confuse the meanings of the words like this. Listen, don't dare to put wool over my eyes.
Marie, I didn't do it on purpose.
Are you sorry at least?
Yes, I'm very sorry, but
Wow, I can't help feeling sorry for you. And you're a good guy in spite of everything. Fine, I'll help you. One last time. Don't ever do it again. It will give you a heart attack.
Thank you, Marie. What are we going to do now? I mean,
What are we gonna do? We'll have to bury her, along with the 39 previous ones, who makes 40 coffins. And I have to call my lover, Father Augustine, and the undertakers, and order the rest.
thank you, Marie.
Actually, you know what? It's not necessary to call Father Augustine. Aren't you sometimes some kind of a priest, if one can believe the gossip?
But in any case, don't spend too much on the reeds. She didn't pay for her lesson.
Don't you worry. Now, if you want to be useful, cover her up. Don't you see she's undecent this way?
Yes, Marie.
And I will carry her out.
But don't you think that someone might, get suspicious with 40 coffins? Suppose he asks us what's in them?
So what? We'll say they're empty. Plus, people are so used to carry us coffins every day, they won't ask any questions.
I know, even so.
Okay. If you're afraid, go ahead and wear this. You see? With this, you have nothing to be afraid of, because now that's politics.
Thank you, Marie. You're a very good girl, Marie. Very well.
Stop. Are you feeling okay?
Yes.
Also pick her up.
Let's try not to harm her.
I'm coming. Oh shit, this one is in a hurry. I'm coming. Good evening, miss. Are you the new student? Have you come for the lesson? The professor is expecting you. Please, come in and sit down. I will tell him you're here. Come in, miss. Come in.